Good morning, YouTube. Well, I guess it is about 1:23, so I guess it's not technically morning anymore. I am making supper for tonight. Tonight we are having chicken parmesan, and I am making my homemade pasta sauce. I do not, okay, let's face it. When I have spaghetti with like meat sauce, I love just ragu or the jar sauce. I can't help it. But my husband, being Italian, just about freaks out every time I do that. So I was going to show you a little bit of how I do pasta sauce. I've had a couple people ask me in the past, and it is so easy, and you can make up a bunch and freeze it. So I will show you how I do my homemade pasta sauce. I have in my pan my olive oil. I just go a couple rounds in my pan of olive oil, and I do add my garlic. My mother-in-law in Italy does hers the same way. I add my garlic, and you do have to be quick so it doesn't burn, because she says the oil and the garlic releases the flavor of the garlic. So once that gets to going and you can really smell your garlic, I add in a couple of cans of diced tomatoes. These are what I got at Aldi. Please notice that my lids will not open. This is like a treacherous job. This is the 4th can opener we have gone through in a year. I have bought $10 can openers, $2 can openers. Please, please, someone tell me a can opener that is good and works. This thing is horrible. So as you see, my cans, trying to get my tomatoes out, they are not even opening all the way. Okay, so I add to this a couple of cans of diced tomatoes. I'm making chicken parmesan, so we like the tomatoes chunky. Typically, if I'm making any other kind of sauce, and I have some frozen that I will add to this, I use the big can of crushed tomatoes. I think it's like 20 ounces or something. But with this one, I do the 2 cans of diced tomatoes, and I'm going to also put in a can of tomato paste. I will add to that salt, and again, your sauce is totally preference to you. So I add in salt, garlic salt. I do add some coarse ground garlic, and then the secret ingredient is, if you're using canned tomatoes, it is a good idea to add a little bit of sugar. It takes the acidity taste away, and I do not like my sauce without it. So I'm going to get this going, and then I'll be back and show you. So I'm really going to try to show you this one-handed. So here in the pot we have the oil, the garlic, the 2 cans of diced tomatoes, and my tomato paste. This is how I measure my salt for this size of pan of sauce. And yes, you will want to taste it after it gets to cooking, but I just pour it a little bit. That's how my mother-in-law taught me, in the palm of my hand, and that goes in. I use sea salt, so that is the salt that we use. So I'm going to go ahead and add my garlic. I do keep just a little bit of garlic salt, because if I need more garlic salt after I taste, I will put that in there. And I do my sugar the same way. So here is the sugar. I've just put a little bit in the palm of my hand also, and it will go in as well. I already know, because I've done this so many times, how I like our sauce. So I'm just sprinkling a little bit of garlic salt in there, and it's starting to cook. So I'm going to get all of my tomato paste stirred in. And yes, again, this is chunky, so I will let it simmer, but for the chicken parm, because I want the sauce to sit on top of the chicken, I don't want a real runny sauce, because that would make the breading soggy. So I do the chunky when I'm doing chicken parm. So I will get this cooking, and then I will get it tasting the way I want it before I add my frozen sauce. So I've got this. I'm going to put this on about 3, and then I will cover it, and I use my little lid with the vent holes in it. So I will let that just sit there in the pan cook for a little bit. And then I will come back and taste it and show you what we got. So I have came back and I did taste this a little bit. And I already know for what I like, it's a little bit not salty enough. This is the garlic salt and it's just the cheap, I think it's from Walmart. So I'm going to add a little bit more. Again, what I like about this sauce recipe is it is totally yours. You can make it and do with it whatever you want. Some people don't like things as salty, but it's just not what I want it to be. So I added a little bit more garlic salt. So here I have my sauce that is pretty much finished. It's been on about 40 minutes or so, just kind of simmering on low, low, low. It's tasting pretty much where I want it. I've put the chunk of frozen pasta sauce that I had left over inside. This one wasn't the chunky one. It was more runny. So what I will do is when I spoon this on top of my chicken parmesan before I put it in the oven, I'll use a slotted spoon because I just want the chunky stuff on the chicken. So here is the finished sauce. Like I told you, I use the slotted spoon and I just kind of pick it up and let some of the liquidy juice run off. And then I just spoon that on top. This is my cooked breaded chicken under here. And then the more juicy sauce that's left after I cook my pasta, which I have here, that's what I will add to the pasta. So I'm going to finish putting some Parmesan cheese and mozzarella cheese on this. I cover it with foil and bake it. So there is the homemade sauce.